Hey, it's JC1424 once again with another race recap for the 2018 Core League season. This is race 3, the Charlotte Roval. I qualified 11th place. I mean, it's on the inside, but still, it was awful. So, I didn't have that track position advantage. At the start of the race, I had to be very lenient towards my opponents. I mean, What If did start very well, and he finished well in this race, and Darian Gilliam didn't finish too badly. But in the end, it was just a bunch of cars in front of me. I didn't want to run anybody over. I mean, it's a little contact here and there, but in the end, I could have done so much better in this race, but I practiced 2 hours before the race began. Apparently that warmed me up, but then I cooled back down the 2 hours before the race, and yeah, I did so bad in qualifying, and the entire first half of the race was so bad, and I can't even put the words how bad it was. You'll see it in a little bit. Carnation, he didn't go into this race expecting to be, that great of a driver, so, I mean, felt like we were racing each other sometimes whenever neither of us wanted to. Maybe he wanted to race me because he was realizing that I was so freaking bad at the time. It's just, the main problem, aside from me genuinely sucking, is these yellow barriers on the back stretch and then the front stretch. The front stretch is a minor problem because I handle those better, but anybody that has a problem with this track, it's always those freaking barriers that don't exist in reality, and I just wish they weren't there because I would have done so much better in this race if they weren't there. I'm pretty sure everybody would have done better if those weren't there. But yeah, I just showed you guys the full first lap, and after that, we're in 14th place. And maybe I should have been higher. Maybe I should have been a little more aggressive at the start. Same time, I didn't want to because, it's 27 lap race. We've got a whole another 26 laps after this. But I'm showing you a little bit further because Iceberg here in front of me, or Ice Titan as he's known on PSN, in 13th place right in front of me. And I was kind of starting to tell I was a little bit faster at the start of the race. I didn't mean to bump him out of the way. Pretty sure he was irritated with me after that. But it was not very long until we headed into the back stretch again, and I finally started doing this shit. 1, 2, and then 3. Yeah, 3 times I did this. I think I crashed into these freaking barriers more times than anybody else on the entire track in this race. And for that reason, I was already 45 seconds behind the leader. It was far enough as was just because I started in 11th place and had to give everybody time to be lean at the start of the race. But yeah, and me and What Incarnation were just bumping into each other, racing each other really freaking hard. And yeah, I think he was like, oh, this guy sucks. I should be racing him. And it's like, whenever I'm not sucking, I'm doing pretty well. He's just running me into the wall. And I'm like, I kind of understand why he's doing this. He's getting frustrated with me whenever, in all reality, I want to pass him up and leave him in the freaking dust. I think I was getting a little too impatient by then. I was already 60 seconds behind the leader. And I'm starting to catch back up because people are taking pit stops. I think Ed had already pitted. Also, the pit road speed limit is 45 miles an hour. But I didn't realize this until watching back on Sloppy Joe's stream. They turned off cautions, which also turned off black flags. So I didn't have to slow down for any pit road. I don't know how many people just freaking drove it in full throttle into pit road, or how many people knew. Maybe no one did. Maybe a few people did. But I decided to get only 1.5 cans or whatever it said, and get 4 tires because I didn't want to chance it by having really worn left side tires. It's a road course. We had a 15-second pit stop. The reason why I decided to use this green and white paint scheme was just because it just had gotten put in with the December DLC. But yeah, after the first half of the race, I was on fresher tires again. I had the time to learn how to drive the track on fresh tires, which I just completely screwed up in the entire first half of the race. And as the tires got worn, I was sucking more and more, or maybe less and less because I was getting used to the car as those tires were wearing down. But if you watch this fast forward sequence, I was at first 11 seconds behind Iceberg again because I'd already lost so much time and given that position away at the start of the race. But I went from being 11 seconds and within 2 laps close in to being right behind him. But yeah, even though it's being fast forward, I'm sure you guys can tell I am much faster now. You can see that green car, the number 42, that's Iceberg. You saw at the beginning of the race. I gave him the bump and run. Now I'm racing him again. I'm like, I don't know how he's going to like this. These next few corners, I'm catching him, but let's not run him over. Let's not do this again. If I do it again, he's going to start thinking I'm trying to do this shit on purpose. I gave him a little bump off the corner. Nothing too bad. What Incarnation is 45 seconds behind me. So whenever I'm not making mistakes, I think I'm pretty good. I'm a top 5 contender, but you're not a top 5 contender whenever you make 3 massive wrecks in the entire first half of the race. Oh, I'm so disappointed in myself. I did a lot of practice, maybe not as much as some other people before we got to this race, but before the race began, I was like, okay, let's run some practice laps, get used to those barriers. Yeah, I just cooled down. The race started and kept on crashing into the barriers, and that just ruined everything for me. If I hadn't done that and been racing like this all race long, I could have started better, could have raced against people like Brendan, Sloppy Joe, What If, Into SE4R, Dale, those guys. Also, this is Ed Soundhead, the leader, passing both me and Iceberg. I let him go, let Ice Titan go, Iceberg go, and he braked even more than I thought it was necessary going to that corner. I just rammed him into the freaking walls at that point. I don't know how pissed off he was with me. I did not mean to do that at all. But I gained back on Ed, the leader, and at first I thought, I'm actually faster than the leader. But then I went on Twitter after the race was over, and Ed was like, no, I was taking it safe, trying not to give away my 15, 20-second lead. And I'm like, yeah, of course that's the case, because I do suck. There's no chance that I'm actually good whenever it comes to this freaking series. Golly, the past couple of races have been terrible. Michigan, I didn't even upload a race recap for that, just because the first one was a shit show, and the second one, well, I couldn't take it seriously because we're all in stability help at a 2-point-mile oval track, and it's just kind of weird for me. But yeah, Ed Sound had to let him back by because he was speeding up and he wanted to get past lap traffic. What Incarnation let him go, and then I got around What Incarnation. Yeah, What Incarnation eventually. This is not even a good recap, but look how bad my commentary is. Well, Carnation, I put him back a lap down again. He was 2 laps down as far as being behind Ed goes, crashing into the barriers just like me. And maybe he crashed into it more than I did. I don't know. Because, yeah, I was only there for like a few laps in this race. This was probably the cleanest pass I made all race long. He let me go. There was give and take in the situation. And this is the last position I made up was on Rusty Walrus for 12th place. I think Rusty Walrus's race could have turned out better. I don't know what happened to him in the meantime whenever I wasn't around him. But, yeah, Ed Soundend just won this race by about 15 seconds over, I think, Sloppy Joe, What If Racing, Dale Reynolds, Into SE4R, Brendan. Yeah, I want to thank you guys for supporting me throughout the Core League. I will be better. We're going to the All-Star on Friday. I don't know if I'm able to participate in that race because there was a thunderstorm and it took out our internet, and then AT&T is being fucking retarded and not even taking care of us. Yeah, golly, sometimes, like, we have AT&T and maybe it's the best, but I just freaking hate these guys. Chicagoland is my favorite 1.5 mile track in all these NASCAR games, and has been for a long time. And then even in 2018, the Cup Series season, it provided one of the best races of the season as a whole, and then a really great finish between Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch. So I'm excited to go there because I'm pretty darn good there whenever I'm not hitting the apron. So I'm going to get lots of practice in at staying off the apron, but running really good laps. Hopefully we're really good in qualifying. I know it could be draft independent because it's practically a full throttle track whenever you're on fresh tires. On worn tires, you do got to let off a little bit, but it's a super speedway now, and I disapprove of that, but still it provides some great racing. I actually prefer online racing at Chicagoland over offline in this game just because of, how much stronger the AI are and it being a full throttle track. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to Chicagoland. That's 2 terrible races for us in a row. I mean, this one wasn't as bad, but Chicagoland, let's go out there and win. If there's one race I want to win in this entire season, it's got to be that one. See you next time. That's that, and race recap over.